After the wide-open roads of Le Mans brought us intense pack racing, today our drivers will tackle a completely different challenge: the windswept bluff-top heights of Phillip Island. Which drivers will fall victim to over-aggressiveness, and who will be able to survive the immense challenge of this circuit? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 8 of the IMSA Vintage series, and you'll see it all live here on the GSRC. Hi, my name is Adam Lindgren, and with me in the booth is Craig King. Our director is the boss man Daniel Costello, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Phillip Island has long been a track that has caused controversy here in the IMSA Vintage series, and to find out why, let's take you down to our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Phillip Island. As the name implies, this track is located on a splotch of land off the south coast of Australia near Melbourne. While there's been plenty of racing here for close to a century, the track's current incarnation has only been around since the late 80s. And this version is a doozy. With only 12 turns spread across the roughly 4.5 kilometers, it's a decently fast circuit. But what really makes this place stand apart is the incredible variety in those few corners. From negative to positive camber, early apexes, late apexes, blind crest, hairpins, sweepers, if you name it, it's probably got it. On top of that, the front stretch tends to offer up a slipstream with its incredible length, but it then forces the drivers into a game of chicken by chucking them into the frightening doing. Corners like Lukey Heights stretches a car's grip to the limit and then shocks you with a sudden downhill braking into MG. Retaining something of an old-school twist, unlike most modern courses, Phillip Island has earthen embankments running along many parts of the track. While it's meant to keep the cars safely retained within the circuit's confines, anyone unfortunate enough to manage to jump them will be faced with a ton of damage for their troubles. A variety of types of racing take place at the track, including motorcycles, lower-level open-wheelers, and touring cars. Possibly the most well-known among those is the Australian Supercars Championship. With the Aussie reputation of having dangerous, difficult, and challenging circuits, Phillip Island certainly holds up to the standard. The beautiful views of the beach and the ocean may lure some of the fans in, but there's no doubt that the incredible racing at this unique track keeps them around.
Well, there we saw a bunch of different cars around here at Phillip Island. A little bit of the history, Craig, but what about the history with this series and these drivers?
Yeah, well, it is love it or hate it. It's kind of like Marmite. This is a technical track. It's loved by many and driven by few. And thanks to the real world GT World Challenge, this track's got new life to it. But let's talk about these cars. For the GTPs, the track is a nice test of your downforce and the ability to keep your speed up. Now, with flat corners like Doohan and Swan, you're going to be a test of your braking ability, though, at the same time. Hard braking into Miller and downhill MG will heat up those tires. Remember, hot tires can cause lack of grip and wheel spin. For the GTOs, braking, again, will be crucial with the throttle control around some of these corners today. Now, the phrase full speed, it's not really seen on these corners for those Audis, so corner exit will be crucial in the middle of the track here. And then you get to the end, the downhill blind Lucky Heights will catch out the drivers. Multiclass around here can be tricky. The track isn't as wide as modern day tracks, but it does work. The speed difference will catch the drivers out there, and incidents around the Hayshed, Swan, and Doohan have been seen this week. This track kind of throws out that usual rhetoric of the Audis will want to track out. They can give some space today, but it's the usual two to tango affair. Key points on the track today, Adam, will be the Cambridge Southern Loop and also the pit entry. We know the pit stop will be needed today, and drivers will and have been caught out trying to enter the pits. We're hitting the business end of the season, Adam. No mistakes can be had today. Hour-long races always showcase those more patient drivers in the series.
Well, I can definitely agree with that. We're going to give you a quick update of the standings very quickly. It's Robert Nash in the lead over Seamus Power and Javier Del Olmo, who got a goose egg in the GTPs. And then the GTOs, it's Arturas Kundelis with a massive lead over Mickey Friesen and Andreas Schuster. We'll have the point standings for you in a graphic next time out. But For this time around, let's talk about this race today. It is going to be round 8 for the IMSA Vintage Series out of 12, 60 minutes for these drivers. That means that there's going to be, well, there should be a pit stop. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It's open setup, so these drivers can set up the cars however they like or dislike, and there's no spare vehicle for these drivers. But then again, usually if you head off here at Phillip Island, you usually end up in the wall somewhere. There's a drive-through penalty at 17 incidents and disqualification at 25. And if you make enough contact with enough drivers, Craig, you could definitely fall afoul of that, and we've seen that happen before.
We have seen it happen, and especially on a track like this, you can see it quite a bit. I know if you go a bit too wide at the southern loop, you do run that way. There it is, just there, the bottom left on the aerial photo. That's the southern loop. Look at all the gravel there. If you make a mistake, you're going to go off. It's on the right there. I've got the track the wrong way there, but you get the idea. So much gravel around here that you will probably get caught and dragged away from the corners more and more. But again, you'll see how small these straights are. It's crazy to think we multi-class around here with how tiny these tracks are. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 3 wide though, just with how small it is.
Absolutely. We got just under 4 minutes left in qualifying. Gio Cortez joins us once again in the GTPs and currently has provisional pole position. Pepe Fuentes just about a 10th back. Arturas Kundalis, our current points leader, currently has provisional pole position by a quarter of a second over Noah Lundberg. Doug Cloud trying to get himself into a better spot with Arturas Kundalis. All the GTOs on their second lap, and most of the GTPs have finished their laps. Pepe Fuentes unfortunately had a spin on his second lap. He won't complete another lap today.
Yeah, on board with Kevin Parrish while we were just talking there. Vili Rula has taken the lead. That's Kevin Parrish making some mistakes as well. Cannon just taking P3 and losing it to Noel Lundberg in the GTOs. Nator Sintet Galindo now coming around, and you can see what he's trying to do. Generate as much speed as he can round Swan into the final corner, full speed and as fast as he can go. A bit of camera there at the top. I have talked about it, Adam. The height difference on some of these corners, even there, it catches you out. You think it's quite flat. Oh, he's blown his engine.
Absolutely, but fortunately, it was after he completed his lap. So P3 for Aitor Sintes Galindo, third position provisionally. Unfortunately for Doug Cloud, he fell off the track just coming out of the final corner. His lap did not count. That drops him back to 7th position with Villirola joining us once again. First time we've seen him in a bit. He's going to jump. He's going to be on pole position for the GTOs. I don't believe anyone else can contest him except for possibly JD Rodriguez or Jamie Hamill-Smith, but neither of them have been driving the GTO recently. We're looking at Joseph Moskowitz here, and Joseph on his first flying lap, I believe. Just taking a look here. And no, Joseph, unfortunately, is finished with his races. Jamie Hamill-Smith, however, is on a flying lap himself. And this is his first flying lap with 1:40 left. He should be able to get this lap in, Craig.
Yep, should be able to get it in. He's going to try and go by. He is at that southern loop. Mickey Friesen also mentioning he did not have a good qualifying, as you'll see him just there in 8th. He actually misshifted on his second lap, but through they come now. Here is Jamie Hamill-Smith, and now he's coming up to the Lucky Heights. Here's a great onboard. You will see the corner shortly. You may see it. Keep going left, down the hill. That's very blind. And on our camera angle, we get a little bit more compared to what they would see through the helmet. So that just goes to show, even from that camera, how much they don't see there, Adam.
Yeah, in the GTPs, there's actually a passing opportunity around the outside of that corner, but it's all trust. You just have to know where the track is because you can't see it, especially the GTPs. They sit much lower to the ground. Jamie Hamill-Smith going to cross the line here, and it's a 1:33.966, and that does not stick, unfortunately. So Jamie Hamill-Smith will start towards the back of the field, along with Carlos Fonseca and Mika Tupola and Joseph Moskowitz. The former three are actually most GTP drivers formerly, so very interesting to see that. And Pepe Fuentes, as we said, in that second position in the GTPs as well, but 15 seconds left to go, and then we'll hit the grid. It's a very cloudy day here, as you can see. It's winter down here at Phillip Island in Australia, Melbourne, just outside of Melbourne, and very dark clouds, and that cloud cover forecasted to increase as the race goes on. If we had rain for these drivers, they would likely start to feel it. But here is our grid. Gio Cortez is going to be on pole position for the GTPs with Pepe Fuentes in that second spot. And then it's going to be Aitor Sintez Galindo and Javier Del Olmo lining up on row 2. Farron Grau is going to line up on row 3 next to Ivan Platten in 6th position. 7th goes to Seamus Power, and Hugh Haycox, not a great qualifying for him, down in 8th. Top 10 rounded out by Krzysztof Olenicek and then James Barry in that 10th position. And then we into the next drivers. It's going to be Shady Ahmad, who's going to be joining us once again in row 6 on a lead 11th position with Jack David Spickett in 12th. Then we got Togo Hisada on row 7th. Not a great qualifying for him either. Next to Victor Rodriguez. Matthew Cockram joins us once again, fairly consistent this season, in 15th with Juan E. Rodriguez in 16th. AJ Roper going to join us in 17th position with Jose Delgado in 18th spot. Alexander Good joins us once again, first time in a bit, in 19th spot with Mateo Johnson in the 20th position. Kevin Parrish is going to line up in 21st. And then our only non-qualifier in the GTPs is Matt Blaine, rounding out your 22 GTP drivers.
So let's get to the GTOs with Ville Rolla leading them off with JD Rodriguez right beside him in P2. Arturo Candelas will be third with Noah Lundberg in 4th. Then Johanny Cameron will take 5th. Joran Van Hixie will be 6th. Del Cloud will be 7th. Mickey Friesen, as I mentioned, a misshift on his second lap, will be 8th. Josh Brain will be 9th, and Roman Bello will be 10th to round out the first page. Pablo Rangel will start the second page in 11th, the last at the time qualifiers. And then it's Jamie Hamill-Smith, Carlos Fonseca, Mika Tupola, and Joseph Moskowitz, all in that order. And one thing to say, Jamie Hamill-Smith is on a VR setup today. Very interesting to see how he gets on. It's a different kettle of fish compared to if you're used to 1, 2, or 3 monitors.
Absolutely. I drive VR myself, and it's quite a challenge. It's a whole different ball game. It can make you more accurate, but there's definitely a learning curve. As you can see, pace car is about to pull off the Porsche pace car here in the IMSA Vintage series. There is your temperatures out there: 66 degrees Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius air temp, and then just 3 more degrees for both Celsius and Fahrenheit. Not sure how that math works out, but 69 Fahrenheit for the track and 21 C for the track as well. The wind, though, it's Phillip Island at the top of this bluff, and on the ocean you get wind, and it's 13 miles per hour out of the north. That is going to be a headwind going into this first turn, so that should increase downforce, but that's a tailwind into the hairpin, Craig.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting. That means it's going to be a crosswind as well on the straights, so you may see a couple drivers just lose a little bit of balance on that straight, and for those downforce cars, you may see something akin to that as they come on down. And one thing we've also got to factor in when we talk about where this wind is, again, the camber on some of these corners can also affect you if you're going to have to deal with that camber. Some of these corners you have to be a little bit wider because of those camber, and to other corners you have to stay in. So it could be very interesting to see what happens there. Haven't brought it up either though, Adam. Delta, it's a usual 14-15 seconds, which doesn't sound a lot, but again, this is a 1:15 track. That could be quite a few overtakes, and it's been a long time since we've had an hour-long race at Phillip Island.
Yeah, it's important to note that scale of the length of the lap. It's a short lap, and so with the usual 15-second delta, what that means is that the GTPs are going quite a bit faster than the GTOs. We just started our pace lap about 45 seconds ago, and we're already about halfway through just on pace speed alone. So these drivers are going to have a challenge out there for sure. Gio Cortez in the lead of the GTPs, are going to be leading the GTPs with Pepe Fuentes on the inside. It will be for the starts. Then Ville Rolla with JD Rodriguez on the inside. Arturas Kundelis is going to be lined up behind Ville Rolla for the start of this race in the GTOs. And Arturas usually gets a very good start. There you can see that drop off and that drop down. And the braking for this next right-hander, Craig, such a challenge.
It's such a challenge. It's already a challenge with the speed you're carrying. Then add downhill. It means you're going to be braking a little bit earlier. You're going to be braking harder. And as I mentioned, tire temps. That could be very crucial when we get to the end of this race. Who can keep their tires warm? As the pace car comes in, it's going to be a very long wait.
Absolutely. It might be a long wait, but Gio Cortez could go at any moment here. So the pace car should be entering now, and he goes immediately. Pepe Fuentes moving over to line up behind Gio Cortez and get that draft. Heitor Sintes Galindo is going to be lined up, tucked in behind them as well. Javier Del Olmo drops back to 4th position, but is under pressure from Farron Grau. Here they go to the first turn. It's not flat here, and look at that. We already have one car off. I believe that is James Berry going off, or Seamus Power rather. He takes the long road through the gravel, and let's get back to the GTO start.
GTO start is chaotic. Arturus Kundillis and Noel Lundberg came together on the start of the race. Johan Van Hinty comes up to P3. Because of it, as we start to see more cars with moment. Big accident in the back of the field. We see a spinner. It looks like it's Pablo Rangel. He's caught Jamie Hamel-Smith and Carlos Fonseca just coming out with a loose bit there on the start of the lap. And for a VR user, that's not going to be comfortable.
No, and so Jamie Hamel-Smith trying to recover, but his car has major damage. That's going to be time to jump into the pits. He actually takes a tow. Arturus Kundillis, though, down in 12th position, loses out majorly because of that opening lap skirmish. So our points leader now trying to recover and trying to make gaps. Mickey Friesen, his closest challenger in the points, is in 6th position right now. So not too many points lost, but if Mickey Friesen can make progress, and Arturus Kundillis is a good 12 seconds back, and Jack David Spickett's gone around at the GTP.
Yeah, he just lost it on throttle. Looks like a little bit of cold tire. Lost it, tried to save it, and then clipped the grass as well. He's going to have to make a recovery, but he does not have the speed. We're with Heitor Sintes Galindo at the moment, trying to get back that P3. He just lost to Ivan Plantum right there. Down at the hill they go, and this is one of the things. Now you get into the full speed sections around Stoner into Miller. They'll come. Used to be called Honda, Adam, but look at the braking. Can't get anything here. It tightens up and then it opens up. Where do you get on the throttle? Not now. Now it's so hard to find a throttle place there.
First hairpin is not banked. The second one has about 5-6 degrees of banking, so it gives them a little bit of a better launch off of the corner. And so we're watching this battle now for the 4th position. Heitor Sintes Galindo, Javier Del Olmo, James Berry, and Christoph Olenjek. And they're going to go up to this extremely challenging section. You can see, and we'll look at this, a battle for Hugh Haycox. He's trying to make the pass there on Kevin Parrish, able to get that done, and they drop down into the bowl as well. We're going to take a look at a replay here.
Yeah, this is the start of the race. Hugh Haycox here, he's going to be having the battle. Now, this first quarter has had a lot of chat this week at Doohan, but he did not turn. It almost looks like hardware failure because that car never even started turning. It wasn't even a late turn. You've got to give room there, and he could not help it. And then more chaos there. Orange car, that's not Javier Del Olmo, but more chaos happening there. Victor Rodriguez, we come back to it. Hugh Haycox has had a moment just there with Jose Delgado. They have had a touch. They're going to have another touch. And he's going to try and get this around the outside. It's going to be tough. They're going to hold together. Hugh has had a couple issues and other drivers on that first corner at Doohan just because of the space you need to give when it's flat out here, Adam. But I think finally he gets that overtake done.
Absolutely. Being on the inside for the first hairpin allows him to get that overlap done. And so Hugh Haycox makes that pass. Jose Delgado falling back. Hugh Haycox is bad qualifying. Starting to become a bad race for him. Here's Mickey Friesen, though, trying to make a move. He's going to try and make the most of this opportunity to get some decent points today. Tucked in behind Doug Cloud. Craig, we know how much of a defender Doug Cloud is.
Yeah, we know what Doug is like. We know what Mickey is like as well. Making that mistake last week cost him some vital points at the end of the race. He's got a chance to a chance to basically rectify those mistakes, but he's not going to do it here. You can see the difference. They're not flat out here. They're having to modulate and then hard into the braking. Look at the different lines. Mickey's trying to just go wide and in to try and make the move, cannot make it and has to hold on. I can report that AJ Roper and Jose Delgado are already in the pits. Did not see any incident between those two.
No, they might be trying to do their first stops and get their stop out of the way if they think that they can make it most of the way on fuel. I don't believe that they had black flags or anything, so I believe this might be pit strategy, but we'll have to see. We're taking a look at Seamus Power right now, who's down in 14th position, tucked in behind Kevin Parrish. Both these drivers are used to being further up the field. In fact, we have a fairly interesting spread as far as where drivers are in the field. I can report that Roper and Delgado still in the pits, so I believe that they're just taking fuel right now, which means they're going to take these tires all the way to the end of the race. Juani Rodriguez had a spin. We're seeing him recover right there on screen as well.
Yeah, he's had a spin, and it looks like it is just a case of just trying to carry too much speed and trying to slow it down into the corner. He gets back. We get back with Seamus Power over and down the hill. They go into MG, and it's so chaotic. We saw the last lap, a couple of drivers locking up, just trying to overtake there. Well, not even trying to overtake, just trying to follow someone. That's so hard. We talked about the overtaking there and having to trust Adam. You've also got to trust that you're following people, that they're actually going to brake where you're going to brake on those corners.
Absolutely, and that is a real hard thing. And oftentimes you'll brake a little bit earlier than you normally would to make sure that you don't pile into the back of the driver ahead, unless you know them really well. But look at this. This is Ivan Platten, who's under pressure right now from Aitor Santos Galindo. Santos Galindo trying to go around the outside of the hairpin as we start to get into the GTO traffic, and this is where the chaos will begin.
This is where chaos will begin. There is opportunity to make moves here. Going to have to be a little bit patient to make a move around the outside here at Siberia. It's not cold today. It's quite hot in the temperature in the rooms with the weather in Europe, and so tight here. This is one of the corners that they've had issues with. Not really a corner, it's high speed. Almost hitting Noel Lumbo there as Ivan Platon, and Noel does go off the track. And that is so tough in that hay shed at the start of Lucky Heights, and you just have to be careful where you make the moves.
And Noah Lundberg, that sends him all the way back to last position of the runners who are on the lead lap for the GTOs. As you can see, the GTP streaking by. Here is Javier Del Olmo. We're watching him on board as we see the picture-in-picture. Jack David Smickett's gone around once again, so a bad moment for him. A bad race for him gets worse. Javier Del Olmo is under the pressure, though, from James Barry, who's tucked in behind him, as I can report that we still have a couple of drivers in the pit.
Oh, we've had a big accident. We've had a big accident.
Hugh Haycox, again.
Yeah. Hugh Haycock losing it, and he tries to hold on, and Shady Ahmad had to try and save his car with a little bit of a moment and was unable to. We'll probably get a replay of that in a moment. Did not see what happened to Hugh Haycock, but Shady Ahmad had to make a reactionary move with GT, avoiding the running back Hugh Haycock. Did not work for him. These cars still going through the meat grinder. That is multi-class traffic, though. Aitor cannot find a way yet. And he has to be careful because now Javier Del Olmo is right behind him. There he is in the orange car. James Barry's also catching up as well. Santos Galindo and Del Olmo have had their battles in the last couple of seasons. Very interesting to see what they can do now.
And these GTP drivers are well into the top 10 of the GTOs. In fact, passing Doug Cloud just there in the top 5, and now through Juhani Kamanen, who is our 4th place driver. So they're going to be catching up to the top 3 in the GTOs. We're all separated by a second. Let's see what happens here with Hugh Haycox. And this one, he just gets held up and then gets pushed off into the dirt and tries to correct it, overcorrects, and that sends him into the wall. And that's some major damage, loses the rear wing entirely.
Yeah, he realized he was coming back onto the track. That little move there, it spooked that GT. And might be just having a fantastic battle up ahead. You know, I almost just saw Ivan Platon make a 3-wide overtake work. But that little move there, it spooked the GTO. The GTO made a reaction. It caught Shady Ahmad out. He tried to save it. The car got unbalanced. It lost all its downforce. And that, unfortunately, was what happened to him. Mickey Friesen, though, he doesn't have to worry too much about downforce today. He is in a tight battle with Juhani Kamanen. Friesen, though, has made up 2 positions. He needs to capitalize on this race now with his biggest competitor, Arturus Candelas, losing out big time on points today.
And Arturus is only down to 9th, so he's made some recoveries, and he's now the lead of that pack from 9th on down. So Arturus Candelas 6.5 seconds behind Romain Bello for the 8th position. I can report that James Barry, as we were coming back from that replay, just had a moment there as we're watching AJ Roper. He's just come out of the pits, and he's in the midst of our GTO leaders. But we should go to P2 in the GTPs because Pepe Fuentes and Ivan Platten are currently duking it out for that 2nd position, 7 seconds back of Gio Cortez. Here's Javier Del Olmo trying to make a move. Or rather, Javier Del Olmo trying to make a move on Aitor Santos Galindo. These two have battled tooth and nail for many seasons, ever since Javier made the switch back over to GTPs. And Victor Rodriguez also trying to battle it out with Seamus Power for 7th position rather.
Yeah, what's interesting there, James Barry now trying to do it as well. Interesting, every battle we've just seen there at Duhan, the driver who takes the outside, getting the better line as the car off there. And that's Mateo Johnson just having a small tap. Going to try and rejoin not interfere with any battles. That's very handy, but he loses out. Back with James Barry as he's trying to make these moves go. He makes it stick there at Miller. Very straightforward overtake, using the traffic to his advantage now onto the 007. He's just going to try and drive away. Needs to make up a few positions though. He's having a really fun race.
Craig, something I've noticed over this entire season as we watch this battle between James Berry and Juan E. Rodriguez, if you take a look at the standings on the left-hand side, Gio Cortez, 7.6 seconds in the lead. Villarola, 2 seconds in the lead. As we watch Ivan Platten, this is the move I was talking about on Pepe Fuentes. Gonna try and do it around the outside. Can't quite get it done. They're gonna go side by side once again. It's gonna swatch back over to the inside, and with the dust on the outside of that track, Ivan's gonna hang on to it.
Yeah, Ivan's going to hang on to it. I think what you're going to say is this season in the GTP, the leader has usually managed to get a good start and drive away. It's happened again. We're lap 9 already. Gio's got an 8-second lead. It's not the guy that has been leading in dominant fashion throughout the season at the front, but it's the same story in the GTP. I think that's what you were trying to get at, Adam. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and it feels like that way. It's been a little bit less that way in the GTOs, but pole position historically has not been a huge advantage in the IMSA Vintage series. But ever since we've gotten the updated weather system and the new tires, it's really changed a lot. There's a nice battle going on between Doug Cloud and Ioanni Kamanen as they're duking it out. Vili Rolla trying to get around the lap Jamie Hamill-Smith as well, our leader in the GTOs. And here we're watching the battle for 6th position between Aitor Sintes Galindo, or rather 5th position between Aitor Sintes Galindo and Javier Lomo.
Yeah, start of last lap, Del Olmo had to run. Aitor decided not to fight it into Duhan, gave him the spot, lost a little bit of track position because of that, but he's on the back. And just as we started going to him, he had a little bit of a wobble going over the heights and manages to save it, but now he's in this battle. They're free of traffic for, I want to say half a lap, because about 10 seconds up the road is another GTO. These GTOs don't have to worry about much at the moment. There's Doug with his trusty, it is a gear stick. I just for a moment thought it was something else, that he's not happy about something. I've not seen anything at the moment. I wonder what that could be.
It was a misshift for Doug. You saw him wrestling with the stick shift just a little bit. That actually backed himself up at Ioanni Kamanen, and Mickey Friesen's now on the back of them as well. Mickey trying to look to continue to increase the separation between himself and Curtis Kundelis. Kundelis has closed 3 seconds on Romain Bello, now only 3.7 seconds behind for that 8th position. Mickey needs to get the move on, but these are two feisty competitors up ahead of him who tend to not want to concede their positions.
All right, so let's talk about this for a moment. We're on a fuel race today. Now, there is that talk. I don't know if it has happened this week. There was the talk of can you no stop, but you will have to debate that later into the race. However, if I'm Mickey Friesen right now and I see 2 guys that I probably could get ahead of and make a gap, and a guy behind me who wants to get my position, if I'm Mickey, the first chance the pit window opens, I'm taking it. Not sure if he will. He's a different caliber of driver, a better driver than I am, so we might see that. I can report, though, Jack Davis Pickett has towed and retired for the day. I gotta say, I don't think the VR has helped him today.
Well, it might be the VR, it might be other things, but there you see just that massive elevation difference as Doug Cloud gets off the corner. Here's my thought, Craig. If I'm Mickey Friesen, I'm thinking to myself, you know what our Curtis Kundelis did just a couple of races ago? He did a fuel race at the last 60-minute race and was able to pick up 2nd position. And if I'm Mickey Friesen, I'm looking at these 2 competitors up ahead who are fairly quick and who are slowly just keeping their place compared to Joram Van Hixie up ahead. If I can't get past these guys, I might fuel save and try and do the no-stop myself.
It's a good idea. We'll get back to that. We'll have a quick look at the GSRC replay with Jack David Spickett. Let's see what happened there. Was it an issue? I said he's coming around Duhan, and then he's going to try. Is that car? He gets a little bit on the grass, it looks like, and just locks up. That doesn't look like it's a VR issue. It looks like he may have other hardware issues, because a lockup there doesn't usually happen. That's due to heavy braking, so might be another hardware failure there for him.
Entirely possible. It could be due to not... Mickey Friesen spins! He's able to keep it going, but that's going to lose position to Josh Brain and bring him into the clutches of Romain Bello, who Arturas Kundelis is closing in on. So Mickey Friesen losing a position and losing time, just getting out into the gray on the outside of the second hairpin.
I think that fuel saving idea might be out the window now for Mickey. I'm not so sure. We'll keep an eye on that. Varen Grau, he's in a fuel battle at the moment. He is battling on. Juan Rodriguez up ahead of him. He tries to find his way through. He's not had a good race. He's -8 on the day. We're 15 minutes into the race, and he's already lost that many.
Sorry, Gio Cortez has damage. Our leader in the GTP has damage, and Ivan Platten is right on his tail. You can see the left wing is punched in a little bit. You don't see that much these days, but that's affecting his straight line speed. And Ivan Platten's going to blow by, not like he's standing still, but Gio Cortez major aerodynamic, and he's going to go off track include as well. So where did Gio pick up that damage from?
I can tell you. He had a moment, guess where? Lucky Heights. And he's trying to get by, and it almost looks like the GTO that he was trying to get by thought he needed to get out the way, and unfortunately he loses out. In these sections, he can make this work, but he does not have the downforce anymore. He's going to lose another position. Pepe Fuertes is there, Javier Del Olmo's there. One mistake, and all of a sudden, he is down 2 positions.
And this is the best news for Javier Del Olmo. I didn't mention it at the beginning because we didn't have our graphic to talk, but Robert Nash is not here today. Seamus Power is here, but he's trapped down in 8th position. Javier Del Olmo, currently in 4th spot, is only 3 seconds off of the lead of this race. So Javier Del Olmo, if he could win this race, he could claw himself a 25-point gap back up to Robert Nash. That would put him in the lead of the championship.
Can you believe it? We've got a GTO championship where one driver is getting all the bad luck. We've got a GTP championship where a man is being nothing but consistent this season in Javier Del Olmo, as he's battling Aitor Sintez Galindo, and he could be leading the championship with just consistency. He has not had a good couple seasons ever since he won the championship, and all of a sudden, he's in a really prime position. He could take advantage of this. Gio is a wounded duck when it comes to the hay shed, when it comes to the Gardner Straight. There's nothing he can do. He has to fight in the corner, and that is a desperation that you're seeing from Del Olmo. He realizes.
Yeah, he realizes that Gio Cortez is bleeding, and the shark of Del Olmo is going to try and snap him up, and Pepe Fuentes is not that far ahead either, so Del Olmo has a really good opportunity. And like you said, Craig, Del Olmo, ever since he won the GTP championship, has just had not great performances, and towards the he seemed to turn a leaf as we hit the midpoint of this season. His consistency is coming back. His consistency is how he won his last championship, and Javier Del Olmo has an opportunity to make leaps and bounds and possibly regain the points championship today here at Phillip Island. But he's got to survive the next 42 minutes, and he's got to get this pass done on Gio Cortez.
278k compared to 294k. That is 20 kilometers difference, which you're almost looking at 10 to 15 mile an hour difference. And I know he had slipstream, but even still, Gio could not defend slipstream. That is how wounded he is right now. Really going to be curious to see if he keeps up with Javier, what speed he's got with the slipstream. Varen Grau in the pits now as well. We'll have to keep an eye on that. It looks like the damage is just the rear. That's a good thing, and that's a bad thing. The good thing is your stability is fine. Your bad news, unfortunately, you're bleeding speed once again.
And this is actually the best news for Javier Del Olmo, having Gio Cortez behind himself and Aitor Sintez Galindo, because that's going to create about a second and a half gap by the time Aitor is able to sneak his way by Gio Cortez, unless he makes a move here. He's taking a look at it, but unfortunately, the decrease in camber and that downdraft of Lucky Heights is going to put him in a position where he's stuck behind Gio Cortez, so it's going to be about 1.5 seconds before Aitor Sintez Galindo can get around, and that gives Javier Del Olmo all the time he needs to try and close that gap up into Pepe Fuentes. Javier is 1.2 behind Pepe, well within the maximum draft of the GTP ahead of him.
And look at it. I'll tell you one thing I was quite interested in seeing was on that straight by the hay shed at turn 7 and the hay shed, there was less speed from Gio with slipstream than Javier. that says it all. He could not do anything even with slipstream. Kevin Parrish looks like he may need to do something as he's about to try and overtake James Barry. Can't catch up. But there you see, if you don't have damage, 2 clean cars there, it is so hard with slipstream to make the overtake. If you got a damaged car like Gio has, unfortunately, yeah, you're not going to be able to do much.
Something that is absolutely noteworthy is that JD Rodriguez in second position in the GTOs is clinging to the back of Villi Rola. Villi Rola is similar to some of the drivers we've seen in the past here in the GTOs in the sense that he can tend to run away with races, but JD Rodriguez has been clawing his way back over the last couple of laps and has been matching the lap times of Villi Rola and actually has a fastest lap than Rola. So he's got a great opportunity to possibly get himself into a position where JD Rodriguez could make the pass for the lead or battle Villi Rola for the lead, but he's got to be careful about the traffic.
Let's wait and see what happens when we come to the business end. There's still 14 minutes left. We've got a full-length IMSA Vintage race now to race as Kevin Parrish. We're looking at him. He's the biggest gainer today. He's plus 11 on the day, and he is holding on. Josh Brain here, he's plus 3 for the day. He's the biggest gainer in GTOs. That just goes to show how straightforward a little bit it has been for the GTOs as we see the GTPs coming by and just slicing through. Josh trying to catch up to Johanny. He's been trying to do that for quite a while. Mickey Friesen hasn't caught up to these two either. Now, remember, Adam, we had that talk about if you're Mickey Friesen, you fuel save and try and go for a nose stopper if possible, or go as far as you can. Maybe Josh can do that now if he's staying behind Johanny.
Yeah, but I think Josh has been fairly aggressive at the start of this race. So if you have that plan, you've got to decide on it just a couple of laps in. And unfortunately for Josh, he's been fortunately for Josh, he's been fairly aggressive, been able to make up some good points. Here we take a look at JD Rodriguez, 1.1 seconds behind Villi Rola. So starting to fall back a little bit. There is Juan E. Rodriguez, who's going to unfortunately take away the exit from JD and lose him a little bit more time. Juan E. Rodriguez currently in 12th position in the GTPs, took it very deep into that corner. But as we were saying last lap, Craig, about coming into Miller with those GTPs on your inside, that's the worst feeling because the GTOs are very quick through the Miller using their four-wheel drive to get out of that corner. And when the GTP takes away your apex, there's nothing you can do. You just fall into that understeer and you just push wide, just as we saw Alexander Good there sliding off of the grass in the background.
Yeah, Alexander Good sliding off just a little bit. Ferenc Grau is out of the race. He has had a tow. Not sure what has happened to him. Looks like he's just called it a day. He might have had some damage, so we don't need to worry too much. But Villi Rola continues on his way on his own with a very decent 1.1 second gap. That still gives a little bit of slipstream for JD, but it's very crucial that you notice now 2 drivers started first and second, still first and second in the GTOs. Another one going wide in the background there as we watch Togo Hasada, who's having a very good day. And I'm knocking on wood because last time we saw him, he didn't have a good Le Mans. He's up 8 positions now with Gio Cortez right behind him, beside him, finally pits. Now, I don't know, Adam, about damage nowadays. In the old days, that would only be about 20 seconds of repairs. They might be able to get a free tire change in this pit stop, but how much time would that damage be for repairs?
It's still unknown at this time. We're still learning how much time that would be, but here is the battle for second position. Javier Del Olmo has broken clear of Aitor Sanchez Galindo and is now right on the back of Pepe Fuentes as they catch up to Noah Lundberg. We're used to seeing Lundberg being a marker of the top 5 at least, but unfortunately for him, a couple of incidents dropped him back to 10th position right now, and he's off the back of the main pack. Carlos Fonseca is his nearest challenger behind at 16 seconds back, so that tells you the day that Noah Lundberg has had. But Javier Del Olmo is trying to make the most of this gap that he's got on the hard-charging Aitor Sanchez Galindo. 1.7 seconds now back to Galindo. Javier Del Olmo's going to have to get it done on this straight, otherwise Sanchez Galindo is going to be right back with him. And even Platten's only 2.3 seconds up the road.
Yeah, I want to look where are the GTOs ahead of these two, and they're going to have a couple on the straight, maybe just one, and then Mickey Friesen at the very end. There's the first one, Arturus Kundelis, who's in 8th at the moment. Mickey Friesen's in 7th. That's a battle we'll have to look at later. JD Rodriguez has taken the lead in the GTOs. Not sure what has happened there. We're going to have to look at that very quickly. Del Olmo can't get it done. They come to the southern loop. Nothing sticking here, and now the traffic comes. We need to see where are they going to go. Going to try and take the inside. This is crucial. They're interrupting a battle for 4th in the GTOs. Gets it stuck, and then Pepe goes on the defense. I think this helps Javier, though.
It does help Javier, but unfortunately the GTPs don't get a very good exit out of that chicane there. I can tell you that it was a mistake from Villi Rolla over the top of the crest of turn 2 that actually caused the issue and lost him the lead to JD Rodriguez, so he's going to be trying to cling his way back. I can also report that James Barry has taken to the pits as well. Gio Cortez was only in his box for 23 seconds, so we'll have to see whether or not that fixed the damage for him, but he stopped the bleeding at least at this stage. But here's that battle between Doug Cloud and Ioanni Kamenin as they're trying to work it out. But we got to go back to the battle for P2 in the GTPs. Pepe Fuentes got held up by Joran Van Hixie in 3rd, and here comes Javier Del Olmo with a head of steam. He's got to stay in that draft, but they have 2 GTOs and then Ivan up ahead of them, and they're going to catch up at the worst time. Can Javier make a pick? He decides to take the safe route.
He decides to play it safe. Very smart move. Just going to get past JD. This is where Ville had his moment last lap. Everyone's clean and continues. Got to be careful. Doug Cloud into the pits. He's coming at the halfway stage. Half and half. It makes sense. I think he may also get some free tires there. And he's cool. He's calm. He's collective. Let's just take a moment of zen. And we're just here to relax. And now we get on the throttle. Just adjust your seat. Nice deep breaths. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. No pit limiters here. Hit that line and go, just like Victor Rodriguez is.
Victor Rodriguez up the inside there of Seamus Power, able to get that, or rather battling with Seamus Power for that 6th position right now. And JD Rodriguez has made a mistake in the GTO lead. And so this has allowed Villi Rolla to tuck in behind him. There we see them coming up over Lukey Heights down into Miller, and under the brakes. That's an inside lockup for Villi Rolla as JD Rodriguez slowed down a lot faster than he expected. Are they going to take to the pits this time? It's 33 minutes to go. We've seen other drivers do it. Nope, both of them stay out.
No, it wasn't a mistake from JD. Unfortunately, he had to take evasive reaction at the hay shed there for a GTP coming through, trying to take the inside line. And unfortunately, that meant he had the issue. Is Ville going to try and make this move? He's going to go side by side. He's going to take the inside. We know the outside has been more favorable for some of these drivers. Josh Brain in the pit. And then once again, outside belongs to JD Rodriguez. Victor Rodriguez is trying to make an overtake there. There was never an opportunity, and he's going to disappear onto the grass.
That wasn't Victor Rodriguez. That was Seamus Power, 2nd position in the GTP standings. Unfortunately for Seamus, that sent him way wide. Did he make contact with the outside wall? I'm not sure. That's more close moments there between Kevin Parrish and Seamus Power. Man, I don't know where these drivers think these slower vehicles are going to go.
Well, it's a narrow track. I said you could go 3 wide. I didn't mean you could go 3 wide onto a corner like that. That was a very questionable move. I'm sure he knows that's a mistake and he'll apologize for that right away. But these drivers still going to go. We're going to call this a straight, even though there's 2 kinks on it through 7 and the hay shed. And up they go. And Ville was harder and later on the brakes for MG next corner. He's going to have to give the respect. He may brake earlier. In fact, he does brake earlier. But look how close he is coming by. Surely now one of these drivers, if they're on a pit stop strategy, will be coming into the pits now.
The tires have changed, the aerodynamics have changed, the damage model's changed, the weather's changed, but one thing that hasn't changed about these vehicles in a while is the brakes. And that's one thing that Villi Rolla is a master at. Here comes Kevin Parrish streaking his way by, and Seamus Power, who was off before. And Villi Rolla, that gives him the opportunity to the outside. Can JD hang it on the inside? Villi's going to tuck it in close. That's as close as you can get between the two of them. Villi Rolla still has a nose in, and JD Rodriguez is going to try and hold her on the outside here. Nothing doing in the GTO. He tries the over-under, but Villi Rolla able to hang on to that and regain the lead.
Yep, take a piece of A4, piece of paper. That's probably how close the gap was. It's just one sheet of that, and he manages to hold it. Good driving from both these drivers, trying to get that move going. Seamus Power also trying to have similar battles in the GTP as he continues on with Kevin Parrish. It's very interesting, Adam. We go back to it. I've said it numerous times. The first corner of the lap, everyone's making the overtakes or defending their position going around the outside. Seamus is going to try to go around the outside here, going up Lucky Heights. Can't make it. Outside seems very favorable for the drivers today.
Absolutely. Outside does seem favorable for these drivers. There's been enough traffic out there to wipe away the dirt and the marbles, so that allows these drivers a good opportunity to make that pass. Seamus Power, though, right in the tire tracks of Kevin Parrish, and with quite a bit of overspeed, is going to pop out here on the outside, that preferred line. Kevin Parrish does have the downforce to stick it on the inside, but the outside becomes the inside for this second turn, and with how much dirt and dust gets blown onto that outside line, very easy move for Seamus Power at the end of the day.
Southern Loop has claimed another victim. Togo Hisada went off at Southern Loop. He has lost a lot of time. I'd almost say 8 seconds he has lost, and he is in danger. But we get back to these battles as Mickey Friesen is having a very tough one there with Juhani Cameron. But again, it is two-hand corner. It is outside to Cameron. It means the outside wins. And now the please be patient on the back of Cameron's car. Friesen cannot afford to be patient. There's a lime green car right behind Adam, and his name is Arturas Kundalis.
Yeah, so bad news for Friesen. An opportunity here to gain lots of points on Kundalis has fallen through, as Kundalis has been able to claw his way back from 6.5 seconds back of these guys, and now he's well in the fight. But man, it sure looks like he doesn't have a lot of tires to contend with. Halfway through this race, 29 minutes to go for these drivers, and the first pit stopper, the highest pitter in both classes, Gio Cortez in the GTPs in 9th position, and he's 22 seconds off of the lead. And then we've got Josh Brain in 9th in the GTOs, and he's 20 seconds off of the lead.
Yeah, gonna keep our eye on that. By the way, you asked about Gio. Did he get all that damage fixed? The wing is looking straight now. We'll have to keep eyes on that, like we're keeping eyes on this cockpit view of Arturas Kundalis. He has one Rodriguez right in front of him, and one's going to try and find a way through. He's going to try and cut the inside. This could be interesting if he stayed on. He's decided to go for the pit. Which way do you go? There's the right way. Has he gone too fast? Oh, hello. Has he gone too fast there, Adam?
I'm taking a look, and he does not have a black flag, so he did make it just in time, and I think his tires were spent, so this is a good stop for him. He was able to close that gap, and he's going to try for an undercut. I think it's a great strategy, to be honest with you, Craig.
You know what I'm like. I love the undercuts. I'm a king of undercuts when it comes to it. No pun intended. I think that's just what these drivers need to do. Do not be surprised to see Kundalis ahead of both of these drivers. Kevin Parrish having some tight battles up there as well as he continues on, and Seamus decides this is not worth it. I'm going to go into the pit. So now we've got more drivers coming in. I reckon the floodgates will now open with drivers like Seamus and Arturas coming into the pits.
And we're looking at Pepe Fuentes because he just had a moment coming through the second of the hairpits. He went off into the gravel and has lost 2 positions. So Javier Del Olmo up to second spot, 3 seconds back of Ivan Platten. And Heitor Sintes Galindo also made the pass, so he's on the podium, 3 seconds back of Javier Del Olmo. So I would expect Pepe is probably going to take to the pits this time by. So very interesting racing here as they go past Noah Lundberg, who's made himself up to 6th position, given that some of the drivers have taken to the pit stops. Arturas Kundalis came back out in 10th in a close battle with Carlos Fonseca, so not the ideal place that he wanted to be either. So Ivan Platten, there we see our leader in the GTPs, 1.4 seconds, so that gap cut in half because of the traffic, and look at him trying to draft off of the slower well, that actually was a battle for position between Jose Delgado and Alexander Good up ahead of him, and Ivan Platten is trying to secure his lead right now.
Trying to secure his lead. Pepe Fuentes did not come into the pit. Once again, I think I'd be rich. That's a free wide move from James Barry. Now, that was very, very brave. He gets Mateo Johnson, and Mateo Johnson got a little bit too hot there, and that may be the end of his race. Thankfully, no damage to James Barry, but you just saw a free wide. We call it the Hakkinen. You just saw a Hakkinen.
Oh, and both of them off. Mateo Johnson and Ivan Platten, and Harvard, who was that? That was Jose Delgado and some angry words on the radio from Delgado as he slides off track and tries to get back going. These drivers who are the last drivers or were the last drivers on the lead lap at the GTP is causing a lot of chaos right now.
Yeah, just a lot of chaos, and it all just stems from just that one moment. Matteo, he tried and break in late, tried to catch up using the cut, using the lap traffic, did not work for him, and that started a little bit of a snowball effect. Heitor Sintes Galindo, we're back with him. He's trying to catch up to Javier Del Olmo. Not much happening at the moment. 25 minutes. We know some drivers have taken to the pits. That gap, Gio Cortez, he's 47 seconds behind the leaders. A pit stop, he took 44 seconds. This is going to be close. And if I'm Del Olmo and Heitor, I'm starting to be a little bit worried here. And I would look towards a pit stop if I'm looking at the deltas.
Absolutely, and two other drivers that I think would be looking for pit stops is Yanni Kaminen and Mickey Friesen. They've been held up by a lot of GTP traffic. And remember that Arturas Kundals did that undercut on them. It's hard to tell the gaps between Kundals and Friesen. I'll have to do it pure stopwatch style next time by. But Mickey Friesen on the back of Kaminen, he's getting held up by Kaminen. I'm surprised that Friesen didn't duck into the pits a lap after Kundals, to be honest with you, to try and do away with that undercut and also get free of Kaminen. But Kundals is free and clear right now in clear air for himself and starting to put in decent lap times. His last lap time was a 1:28.8 to Mickey Friesen's 1:29.1. So that's 0.3 gained on last lap alone.
But again, question in the room, is he no stopping? Is he trying to conserve as much as he can? Not entirely sure. Jose Delgado unfortunately has towed Matteo Johnson into the pit. I'm keeping my eyes on Kaminen and Friesen. Will either of those two come into the pit? For a moment I thought Friesen was. They're staying out. Again, if they're saving the fuel for a no stopper, okay, fine. But if they're not, I don't understand. Kevin Parrish now pits the top 6 in the GTOs, and we're looking at Ville Roller right now, yet to pit. And out of those, I just don't know who I would circle as someone who is definitely looking at no stopping.
Kevin Parrish in the pits right now. We're taking a look at our leader, Ivan Platten, who's maintained that 3-second gap over Javier Del Olmo as they've been going around. Heitor Sintes Galindo 1.3 seconds back of Del Olmo and losing a little bit of ground because of the traffic. So these gaps maintaining a little bit as we head into the pit cycle.
Yep, Kaminen now, he's looking to try and make the move on Friesen. They're battling, and they continue to take that side by side, and Friesen has to yield. He got the overtake, he loses the position. Again, they're battling. We like seeing battles, but with 23 minutes left in the race, and you know that the guy behind you went to undercut you, you have to start considering that you have to come into the pits.
And Craig, he's done it. I did the stopwatch timer between Friesen and Kundals. It's 33.3 seconds. Friesen's time in the lane, that's not including his in and out times as far as the speeds are concerned, 37.6 seconds. So as of right now, Kundals has undercut Friesen and Kaminen by the tune of about 3 to 5 seconds, all things considered, once we count in laps and out laps.
We don't need any of that, the F1 style predictability, where he'll be. We just do it with stopwatches here, the old-fashioned way. I gotta be honest, that's fantastic to see. We just look at the time stopwatch times and just see if it worked. There is Kundals. He is just running his own race. And this is one of the things I like, though, Adam. If you are someone that goes for an early pit stop, tries to undercut, you don't have to worry about people around you. You can just race your own race with no one in front of you to interrupt. You've got clear air until a lap car comes to overtake you. It is so calm and so peaceful. It's very handy. And we have seen a close moment just as someone comes out the pit. Victor Rodriguez came out the pit and was in a battle for 7th with Seamus Power. Unable with Seamus to make that overtake. But those two are now glued together in that battle for 7th place.
Interestingly enough, as you've been mentioning, you were talking about, we've been talking about whether Mickey Friesen's doing a fuel stop, but the challenges he's put on Kaminen leads me to think otherwise. I think that this is just a genuine battle between them. Here's Seamus Power, who He's been having a struggle of a day. Second position in the points in the GTPs and currently in 8th position. Juan E. Rodriguez has had yet another spin in our GTP drivers. He has yet to take his pit stop as well. Here we see Seamus Power stuck into a bunch of traffic. His championship rival, who is here today, is Javier Del Olmo, 4 seconds back of Ivan Platten. So Javier losing time to Ivan. Javier has yet to pit. It's important to note that Seamus Power has pit, but he's a minute off of the lead, and with 43 seconds in the box, it might get within 5 seconds of Javier Del Olmo, but it's not going to be a pass or an undercut at this stage.
Yeah, and trying to get ahead of Victor Rodriguez there would be crucial, but unfortunately, Victor came out the pit, he held that position, was unable to get by. Rodriguez comes into the pits as we continue another driver there. So we're now down to just the top 5 in the GTPs yet to pit, the top 6 in the GTOs, as we see some of them right now. They've yet to pit. Mickey Friesen continues on. And again, it does feel like, as Pablo Rangel, the car in the back, is not full position, it does feel like one of these drivers has to pit. But again, we go back to it. Is Mickey Friesen fuel saving? It's the biggest elephant in the room right now.
Absolutely. He's going to have to make it another 20 minutes if he is fuel saving. We see that battle between Rodriguez and Power just now going by them as they get onto this straightaway. You could see the differing lines, and both Rodriguez and Power have driven these cars for a while. And here's Willy Rolla. He misses his box. Rolla missed his box by a little bit, so he had to pull forward a smidge, and that's going to lose him a couple of seconds, but hopefully that doesn't lose him the lead against Rodriguez. Rodriguez went around again.
Yep, Seamus Power continuing on. Noel Lundberg comes in to the pits as well. Seamus trying to make that battle stick. Good. He got the lead, and that's all she wrote. Mickey Friesen now on the back. He's tapping that now. Please be patient. Reads the back of Cameron's car, and Mickey's like, I can't be patient anymore. Please let me through. And there goes Passon. There goes Parrish as well. Parrish is a lap down, will let him through. What do you do if you're Mickey Friesen right now? It does, more I look at this, Adam, it does feel like he is fuel saving. And especially when you look at those lap times. You brought it up earlier, 29s versus 30s. Yeah, that sounds like it's fuel saving.
I mean, I guess, but I don't think Mickey Friesen's fuel saving. I think he's genuinely held up by Kaminen, which means he's hummed. There's not much he can do at this stage. He's going to have to go absolutely all out once he comes into the pits. And we know how strong Arturas Kundal is towards the end of a race. That's why he's the championship leader right now. It'll be interesting to see whether JD Rodriguez comes into the pits. He did not this time. Yes, he did. He did come into the pits this time. So JD Rodriguez, our leader who inherited the lead from Willy Rolla, has come into the pits. Rolla is just now going through Miller.
Platon as well, leader of the GTP, comes into the pits. Here's Mickey Friesen with Johanny Cameron, and I wonder if there's going to be a move here. Again, though, inside line has not been the strongest today to make the move. However, Johanny realizes this, and now he's probably going to get this go. No, he goes harder into the corner. This could be a mistake, but he holds on to it very well. That was late around the outside, makes it stick. Friesen can't do anything, holds up again. If he isn't on a fuel save, he should have been in the pits.
He's definitely not fuel saving. He's battling with Kaminen. He doesn't take the inside here because this is a bad place to try and make a pass. I don't think he's fuel saving right now. I think he was genuinely battling with Kaminen. If not, why wouldn't he have just lifted and saved even more fuel on the straight? I can report that Willy Rolla came out ahead of JD Rodriguez, but to the tune of half a second. And now there's a battle between Joran van Hixie, who actually has inherited the lead. He took a 10-second stop to Willy Rolla's 14-second stop, and that was 5 laps ago. And Joran van Hixie is in the provisional lead of this race once Kaminen and Friesen come in.
If Kaminen and Friesen
and Pepe Fuentes has gone around, so he's even further out of the picture for the lead of this race in the GTPs. So his bad day keeps going. And our leaders of the GTPs are in. Del Olmo and Sintes Galindo, both in the pits, as Platten came in earlier than them, 44 seconds in the pit lane for Platten. And here is that Joran van Hixie in third.
And Toga Hisada's now coming to the pit. So everyone in the GTPs have now pitted. Van Hixie now has to try and hold on to this. He does have a good advantage because he can let Ville and JD just have their own little battle. Got to be careful because Roman Bello, he's not pitted yet. Don't tell me we've got another person trying to do a zero stopper. It'd be Roman Bello, a fantastic move, but here they go. That's Roller with so much speed. He's going to try and make the move, but we'll go to a GSRC replay of what's been happening, and there it is. Around he goes. Can't hold on to it. Roller's going to try the outside. Can't make it stick. They're sliding. They're fighting. They're sliding. Brings in Roller if he can. Rodriguez, sorry. It is all happening with 15 minutes to go. I'm losing track here.
Absolutely, and here comes Ivan Platten trying to make his way through. He's able to do so, so that is our provisional leader in the GTPs. And he is now the leader in the GTPs by 2.5 seconds over Javier Lomo, who's got a 0.6 second back Aitor Sentes Galindo to worry about. So they go through the first sector of the course, Craig, and it's as they were, with Van Hixie up in front, Billy Riola tucked in behind, and JD Rodriguez behind him. There goes Del Omo holding up. Roll a little bit of contact between him and JD's way off. That's going to be contact with the outside barrier if he can't save it, and he can. Unbelievable, but that takes him out of the battle for the lead.
Took him out of the battle there. He tried to put his nose just in the little kink there, could not make it stick. Freezed Cameron round 75, and now nothing's going to be happening. He's going to hold on. Mickey is going to hold as much as he can, and this does feel like he's trying to drain this for as long as he can, but it will not work. This does not feel like it's going to work for him at the moment.
Well, now it seems like he is fuel saving, and we have a battle between Jorn Van Hixie and Billy Roller for the lead. For the provisional lead. Seemingly these guys can't make it on fuel. And Billy can't get it done because Jorn Van Hixie took the outside of turn 1 again. So here we see the battle between James Barry and Victor Rodriguez. Barry's going to make that pass easily around the outside. And yeah, especially with that pick on the inside there of Josh Brain. So that means James Barry moves up to 8th position. So as it stands, Ivan Platten, all the GTPs have pit, so Ivan Platten is on merit, on pace, in the lead of the GTP race by 3.5 seconds. And it's a tight battle for second between Javier Del Olmo and Aitor Sentes Galindo. That's another 7 seconds back to the recovering Gio Cortez, who's the fastest driver on the track recently. In the GTOs, it's Johanni Kaminen leading over Mickey Friesen. Neither of them have stopped, and neither of them they might decide not to stop. We'll have to see. Friesen's trying to go for a move yet again. Can't get it done this time either. Or am I correct? No, Kaminen comes into the pit, so Friesen, the last GTO to take a stop, aside from Romain Bello, who's still out there. So that moves Kaminen. He's going to move down the field significantly. And then second position right now is Joram Van Hixie and Willy Rolla, who are battling it out. And then Romain Bello, who has yet to stop as well, is 2 seconds back of them.
Okay then, Mickey, what have you got? What have you got for the last 13 minutes of this race? Can you hold on? You're going to have to do 10 more laps. I don't think it's doable. I just keep hearing the sighing. Every time I mention it, I hear you sigh, Adam. And I think you're right. It is a case of he's committed to this too much. If I was him, I know it's possible. I would have countered Kundelis's pit stop and pitted right away. It's cost him so much time.
I think the trouble is that he committed to this too late. Oh my goodness, nose-to-tail contact between Doug Cloud and Noah Lundberg. Doug Cloud having come out of the pits in 9th position. So unfortunately for him, his great day that started out well in the top 5 unraveling here as he's battling with Noah Lundberg, who's also usually in the top 5 and has not had a great race. Look at that. Doug covering off the inside, forcing Lundberg to move onto braking to the outside to try and get an over-under. Nothing's going to happen there at that hairpin. It's not really a passing zone on the exit of the corner unless the driver makes a mistake, but Doug Cloud a little bit wide here for the cambered version, and he's going to be able to hang on to it. Doug Cloud using his defensive strats once again.
Yeah, Aitor Sentes Galindo is, well, trying to battle Javier Del Olmo. These two know each other and knows what they can give, and it's so hard to make a move. Interesting there at Miller, that corner that Doug held the inside. You tried to see the over-under there to try and see it work. Again, you're seeing it here. It's so tight on exit, even with that AstroTurf runoff, you can't make the over-under work just because of the speed differences that these cars have. So many drivers have tried and has not been able to make it work today. Aitor needs to use the slipstream to his advantage, to see if he can try and get it. They go wide around, unable to make it happen this time, and he's just having to wait. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's going to wait until the last couple of laps to try and make this move. He's happy being behind Javier Del Olmo because these two are starting to pull away from Gio Cortez.
Yeah, and if I were Aitor, I would not be trying to make any passes right now. I'd hope that Aitor or that Javier will be able to drag you up to Ivan Platten. But Platten has been putting in faster laps than these two, and just the last lap, Javier and Aitor both set their fastest laps of the race. So I don't think that Javier is going to be able to get up there, in which case, as Aitor Santos Galindo, then you do the math, you're not going to be battling for the lead unless Ivan makes a mistake. So why not battle for it now and see if you battle Javier now and see if you can get past and then try and claw your way up to Ivan Platten. Billy Rolla, though, here he is in that battle with Joran Van Hixie, who was able to get by once again. Mickey Friesen 12 seconds up the road from these guys, so he hasn't lost a lot of time. Can Mickey make it to the end? We don't know. And if Mickey doesn't make it to the end, where on earth did Joran Van Hixie find 4.5 seconds in the pits of fuel to save to get out ahead of Billy Rolla and currently hang on to this lead?
Well, first of all, let's see if they can get around the GTPs coming by. That is very interesting. Those 4 seconds could be anything. Could be him going a lap less. Could be him just trusting his ability. He may have even saved that fuel. You just don't know. Going to be interesting. I don't even know where he would have saved that fuel is the question. So many questions. If he does win this, those 4 seconds could be crucial, and there'll be a lot of questions over, Joram, how did you do it? Ivan Platten takes the fastest lap again. That does not feel like a move. This feels like a move. Oh, and a slide from Ville.
Slide from Billy Rolla, slide from Joran Van Hixie, locked up the outside tires, and that means that neither of them get the advantage. But look at this, Billy Rolla trying to use the banking on the outside, but unfortunately there's a ton of gravel out there, so unfortunately he can't quite get by. But look at the pressure he's putting on Van Hixie, trying to force him into a mistake here.
Now he knows that JD Rodriguez tried to put his nose in one of these little mini straights here. Could not work, and it did not work for him as he lost a couple positions. So Ville can't afford to make a move here. Tries it again, and again, these drivers, they like to break late for MG, not making it work this time. And Mickey Friesen's in the pits with 8 minutes to go.
The question is how much fuel does he have to take? It's not going to matter, though. 12 seconds. The shortest pit lane that we've seen so far is Joran Van Hixie at 30. So those 12 seconds are already gone. There they go. And unfortunately for Mickey Friesen, just committed to this fuel-saving strategy too late. This is going to cost him quite a few positions. He's not going to be on the podium today either. I can report that Aitor Santos Galindo has not decided to hang back with Javier Del Olmo. They're battling it out because they know they can't catch Ivan Platten. You can see the weaving on the straights. There's Romain Bello currently in 3rd position. Aitor Santos Galindo to the inside of turn 1. He's going to try and hang on to it as it switches to the outside. They're going to catch up to the battling Arturas Kundalis and JD Rodriguez. They're battling for 4th position. And look at this. Santos Galindo on the outside is able to get the pass done.
Gets it done around the outside. The traffic comes and manages to block off Javier Del Olmo. There's the 007 cam. Manages to make this stick. And Aitor now knows it is time to go. Behind them, Kundalis, JD Rodriguez, they're having a little battle. They're side by side through the corner, as you see. They're going to try and make this. Rodriguez is going to have to defend this through the corner. A little bit of tap in there through Siberia. And he is cold as can be as he holds on to that position. Meanwhile, I can report Friesen is 7th. He lost a staggering 4 seconds, 10 seconds to Kundalis.
Absolutely. So we watched these two battle, Arturas Kundalis and JD Rodriguez. So Friesen was trying to win the race and wasn't thinking about the points, and I can absolutely respect that. But he had a day where Arturas Kundalis struggled at the beginning and had an opportunity to take some points away from him. And now he is behind Kundalis by 7.5 seconds. And he's going to be struggling to try and get up there. JD Rodriguez pushed off wide. He's able to recover just barely. And Kundalis is going to be able to get the pass done. But Rodriguez, my goodness, what a save.
I don't even have any words. That almost looked like he was taking Kundalis
Javier Del Olmo's around. Javier Del Olmo swings. We see a 3-wide moment there for Friesen and for Josh Brain. Javier Del Olmo from third position has spun around and has lost 3rd to Gio Cortez.
Say it again. Southern Loop catches another one, and we're back with this battle. Josh Brain battling Mickey Friesen. Friesen managed to make the position, and now he's going to go. He got JD Rodriguez off. JD Rodriguez has gone off. He's in the gravel, and it looks like that's another moment. It's a mistake. He outbraked himself trying to get past Gundelas.
Yeah, he took it so deep into that hairpin. And
Angel said it's Glindo's round. Sorry. P2 in the GTPs in the round.
So P2 in the GTPs around, that's going to give Gio Cortez into second position. Alexander Good dives off in Miller. They're going past the lead in the GTOs, which is still Joram Van Hixie. Just over 5.5 minutes to go. Santos Glindo recovering once again. So Santos Glindo now down to fourth position. Javi Del Olmo battling with Gio Cortez now for the second step of the podium.
Yeah, Santos Glindo is still there, though. He's going to keep on battling behind these two. It's the battle for the GTOs as well. I don't think we'll see an overtake there this time by. Del Olmo, he's got to feel a little bit frustrated. He went wide here and just caught the gravel and trying to just get around a GTO. Caught too much, went around. He keeps it safe this time, but you've got to think when he comes out of this, when he comes out of Miller, out of Siberia in a moment, he will want to make a run here and he will want to try and get that position. There's only 5 minutes left. Meanwhile, in the background, Doug Cloud looks like he's going to be making some moves. Again, he's so cool, calm, collective. A quick shift of the gears, down he goes into the first corner. He's on the inside, though. He's not going to make it as the inside becomes the outside.
And look at this, 3 wide. It's going to be Noel Lundberg taking a nose into Kaminen. Kaminen struggling to get power down off the corner. Oh, a little bit of contact between Doug and Noah Lundberg. And Doug's just going to say, you know what? I'm just going to stay right here. He blocks off Lundberg. Lundberg can't get the move done. Doug falls behind Kaminen. Doug going defensive and follows Kaminen into the corner, who's also defensive. And Lundberg, this is a 3-way fight for 7th position in the GTOs.
And the smile on Doug's face, he knows it's hard racing, he knows it's fun racing. He probably had a little bit of a chuckle. Why was there a 3 wide there for a moment? It doesn't matter. He's going to keep on trying. He will get an opportunity. There is a GTP coming up. There it is. Can they get anything done before the GTP? No. But does this mean Doug's going to try to follow the GTP? No. Can he get late braking? The question there's going to be asked. And it's no. He's going to have to hold on with 4 minutes to go. It's going to be very tight as well at the front of the field in all the classes. All of a sudden, in the last 10 minutes, it has just flip-flopped.
Well, Ivan Platten out to 10 seconds lead over Gio Cortez, but then it's only 7/10 between himself and Javier Del Olmo. In the lead of the GTOs, it's Joram Van Hixie with only half a second over Willy Rolla. Joram Van Hixie still hanging on to it. Here we go once again. Doug Cloud up to the inside again, but he's got a little bit more of a gap this time. He takes to the brakes in the 23, trying to sweep around the outside once again. Kaminen trying to hang on to it here, and he can't do so. Doug Cloud able to make it through, and as long as he hugs it tight to the inside on the exit here, he's going to have that, and he does. Here comes Noel Lundberg trying to go up the inside once again on Kaminen, who seems to be struggling a little bit. Kaminen, the last of these guys to pit. The question is, did he take tires? He only had a 14.5 second stop. Here's Lundberg under braking around the outside, trying to make an over-under work as usual. Nothing doing that time around.
Nothing doing that time around. Javier Del Olmo now. He's going to try and do this around the outside. Not worked this time. He's setting himself up faster than Gio Cortez last time by. Can he make this go? He's only going to have two laps after this to try something. What can he find is the question. Look ahead to the track map. I'm looking right now. Their last lap looks like it may have traffic. He's going to have 2 laps without traffic, so that's going to be vital for Gio. But for Javier, I mean, he'll be happy with a P3, but when you're this close to P2, you kind of want to beat the number 1 driver.
And he will be happy with a P3, and he needs to make sure not to throw it away, because P3, he's going to be the best, the highest point scorer of the top 3 in the points for the GTPs as it stands. With Robert Nash not here today, Javier Del Olmo would score 3rd position points, where Seamus Power would score 7th position points. So this would jump him over Power and possibly over Nash as well. The battle for the lead of the GTO still tight as Ivan Platten crosses the line. He will go around another time after this, so it is the penultimate lap for Platten this time around.
And will it be the penultimate lap to the GTP leaders? That could be interesting. We'll look at that later. But more as we keep looking. I keep looking around. Where are we looking right now? Pepe Fuertes just took the fastest lap of the race. He's battling Aitor Sintes Galindo for fourth. Javier Del Olmo, he can't find a gap right now to get to Gio Cortez. The lead of the GTPs is close, and that battle is still brewing between Doug Cloud and Noah Lundberg, and then Josh Brain battling Mickey Friesen. Mickey Friesen may get up to fourth here at the end of the race.
P1 in the GTOs is very close right now between Rolla and Van Hixie. Van Hixie gets the apex cut off from him going onto the front straightaway, so they're even on speed going onto the front straight, which means that Rolla's going to have the draft. Now, is he going to try and take the inside here? He is. He's going to take the inside. We know that the outside is the preferred line, but the question is, can Van Hixie hold it? Oh my goodness, Philly Rolla gets loose and misshifts. He gets loose as he gets onto the inside curve and misshifts. That's going to drop him back by about 7/10.
He's going to have to just calm down now. He doesn't want to overdrive. We've seen so many cars make mistakes here at Miller, so he's just going to have to try and gain that time back. It's doable. It's doable if they get another lap, though, because the leaders are about to start their final lap. In fact, there is the leader. The leader of the GTPs, Ivan Platon, he's already at the Southern Loop and he's already at Honda. He's not far behind these guys. Will they get another lap is the question.
So these guys just exiting now onto the S's in the back of the field. We see Noah Lundberg up the inside there of Doug Cloud. Can Doug hang on to it, onto the braking for the hairpin? Doug's able to hang on for the moment. They've got the number one behind them, the Gio Cortez and Javier Del Olmo. They're also battling for second position in the GTPs. Here comes Ivan Platten through the S's. He's not going to get to our battle for first in the GTOs. So
mistake. Sorry, Del Olmo's had a mistake. Del Olmo's Del Olmo's crashed. Del Olmo's had a crash here.
So Del Olmo falling back to fifth position. But Ivan Platten coming through the final corner is going to win it here in the GTPs. What a race for him. The battle for the GTO lead will go another lap.
It will go another lap, but we got to keep eyes here for what is now the final podium position. Could be a drag race between Sintes Galindo and Pepe Fuertes. I think Sintes Galindo may have this, and he will do it.
Absolutely. So Gio Cortez crosses the line in second position. Aitor Sintes Galindo, also Pepe Fuentes. And so, wow, what a race we have. And we have the battle for the lead in the GTOs. Joran Van Hixie and Vili Rolla streaking through the hairpin. And it's going to be a tight race for these two drivers. Vili Rolla is going to have one more opportunity, and that's realistically through Lucky Downs and into Miller, and so into MG. So can he do anything about Joran Van Hixie? 0.5 of a second is a large gap to close.
There's a large gap to close, but you just seen what he's been able to do on the braking for the final corner. Thankfully, the GTP behind has finished. He's not going to interfere with this race. And look how late it is, but look how tight Roller takes that corner. He gets up close, but he did not get a good launch out of there. That could be all she wrote. Van Hixie's going to have the clean-up final few corners. Comes out the Swan. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but just gets on the throttle a little bit earlier, and Joran Van Hixie will take that victory in the GTO. What a battle to make it up 5 places.
And what a strategy call in the pits to save 5 seconds to pull ahead of Vili Rolla and the rest of the field. An unbelievable strategy call from Joran Van Hixie gives him the win today, the GTOs. Let's take you through our results. And it is going to be Ivan Platten who takes the win, up 5 positions in the GTPs. That is the largest gain for a winner in the GTPs in quite a few weeks. Gio Cortez somehow recovers from getting damage early on and losing a lot of time and comes home in second position. Aitor Sintes Galindo. On the board, he didn't lose or gain any positions, but we know that's not the story. Comes home in third spot. Pepe Fuentes in fourth. Javier Del Olmo drops down to fifth position on the closing lap, which means that Togo Asada is sixth, and Seamus Power comes home seventh, only losing 2 positions worth of points to Javier Del Olmo. Victor Rodriguez up 6th, finishes 8th today with James Berry in 9th, and the last driver on this page, Kevin Parrish, up 11 spots on the day to finish in that 10th position. And then we got Matthew Cockrum, last driver on the lead lap, finishes in 11th with Mateo Johnson in 12th. AJ Roper starts the drivers 2 laps down. Those are Juan Rodriguez, Alexander Good, and then we have Christoph Olenicek 4 laps down, Jose Delgado 22 laps down. The rest of the drivers had a lot of problems. Farron Grau, Jack Davis Pickett, Shady Ahmad, and Hugh Haycox, as well as Matt Blaine, who didn't start.
Get to the GTOs. 5's the magic number today because Joran van Hixie, he gained 5 positions today and saved 5 seconds in the pits, and he wins the race with Willy Ruler coming home in second. Arturas Kundelis had a terrible start and was at the back of the field before the first corner, and he managed to recover to a P3 with JD Rodriguez in 4th. Mickey Friesen gets 5th, what could have been for him, and Josh Brain will be 6th with Doug Cloud 7th. Noel Lundberg will be 8th and Johanni Kaminen 9th, both of them losing 4 positions. Roman Bello will be 10th to round out the first page. And then we've got Carlos Fonseca and Mika Tupola coming home in 11th and 12th respectively. Pablo Rangel will finish a couple laps down in 12th. And then Jamie Hamill-Smith, who had some issues and retired early, and Joseph Moeskis will finish retired down in 33 laps down.
Well, Craig, what a dramatic race we had today with Ivan Platten coming home with the win of the GTPs, Joran van Hixie in the GTOs coming home with a win in the strategy. But talking about strategy this late in the season, what do you think about the strategy for some of our points contenders who possibly took some more risks than they needed to today?
Yeah, they had to take some risks, but I think some of them took a bit too much of a risk there. Again, I go back to that pit call from Mickey Friesen. I know I'm a different driver. I know I don't have that same mindset. That's not me saying I'm different to Mickey. That's just us. We have different ways. I'd be pitting the moment I saw my opponent pit, or even I'd be pitting earlier. There was a chance to pit early there with how late he pitted, so he could have done something there. It just felt to me, look at the time he lost. He finished what? 10 seconds almost. Actually, yeah, it was 10 seconds almost behind Kundelis just because of not taking that pit stop. And they had a gap. Kundelis pitted lap 21. Mickey pitted lap 34. That's a big undercut. And surely, with all that fighting he had, he should have known it would have been wise to try and pit to counter his championship contender.
Yeah, fortunately for both of them, Andreas Schuster not here today either. So here we see a couple of highlights from the race. But yeah, the points championship's going to look quite different as we go into the next round at Snetterton, and it's going to be a very different race to this one even over there.
I love Snetterton, and it's going to be a very interesting track, especially for these cars. It's not a track that you associate multi-class racing with, especially with downforce cars, but it's going to be very interesting to see that middle section. We'll go for it later next week. We see some of the highlights as we get ready to go here. That, Adam, is the one I've got circled on my calendar next week, and that might even determine the championships with how late in the season we are.
Absolutely, but that's going to take us to the end of our broadcast today. We want to give a big, huge thank you to the team, Craig, Daniel, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, website, merchandise store as well, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on the GSRC. As we just mentioned, Snetterton 200 is next week. That's August 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and be sure to check out our other broadcasts that are also listed here on your screen. But we hope you've enjoyed joining us today as much as we've enjoyed bringing this racing to you, and we hope to see you back again soon. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.